You keep searching, scrolling through faces, swiping through stories, hoping that one day someone will see you, really see you, and finally make it all make sense. But what if the search itself is what keeps you lost? Carl Jung once said, "What you seek is not somewhere out there. It is within." And yet, most of us spend years chasing love outside ourselves, in other people, in validation, in fleeting moments of attention. We tell ourselves, when I find the right person, I'll finally feel complete. But deep down, what we're really saying is, I can't bear to face the parts of me that feel incomplete. We chase because we think love will fix us. We attach because we believe someone else will fill the emptiness inside. But that emptiness, that ache, isn't a punishment. It's a signal. It's your soul whispering, "Come home," to yourself. The truth is, love doesn't start when two people meet. It starts the moment you decide to stop abandoning yourself. Because when you love yourself deeply, you stop looking for someone to complete you and start becoming someone whole enough to meet another whole soul. The illusion of searching ends when you realize you were never looking for a person. You were looking for a reflection of the love you've always deserved to give yourself. Carl Jung believed that every relationship is a mirror, not a coincidence, not destiny, a reflection. Each person you meet, especially the ones who wound you, is showing you something about yourself, something you couldn't or wouldn't see. That's why you attract the same kind of people again and again, the ones who ignore you, the ones who leave, the ones who make you feel small. They're not here to punish you. They're here to awaken you. They mirror your inner wounds, your fears, your insecurities, your self-doubt, so that you can finally see them, so you can finally heal them. If you ever wonder why love feels like a cycle, it's because your unconscious keeps recreating old stories until you write a new ending. You attract what you believe about yourself, not what you say you want, but what you are. When you feel unworthy inside, you'll settle for love that confirms that belief. When you finally begin to love yourself, the mirror changes. The people who once triggered your pain will fade away, and new souls, peaceful, whole, and conscious, will appear to match your energy. Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. But fate changes the moment you look in the mirror, and instead of saying, "Why does everyone hurt me?" you whisper, "What are they trying to teach me about me?" Jung called it the shadow, the unseen side of your personality, the parts you hide, repress, or deny, your anger, your fear of being unworthy, your need to control or be chosen. All the things you pretend aren't you live there. And here's the secret. If you don't face your shadow, you'll fall in love with it, in someone else. That's why we fall for people who trigger our deepest wounds. That's why we keep choosing pain that feels like home, because your shadow is searching for recognition, not rejection. You'll meet partners who abandon you until you learn to stop abandoning yourself. You'll meet people who lie until you face your own fear of truth. You'll meet people who can't love you until you finally realize that's not love. Healing isn't about rejecting the shadow. It's about integrating it, looking at your darkness and saying, "I love you too." Because when you stop running from yourself, your shadow no longer controls you. You choose love from awareness, not trauma. You love from peace, not panic. The shadow only loses its power when you meet it with compassion. That's the real self-love Jung talked about, not bubble baths or affirmations, but the courage to face your own darkness and still say, "I am worthy of love, even here." Somewhere inside you, there's a small voice, a child still waiting for someone to stay, still hoping someone will say, "You're enough, you're safe, you're loved." That's the part of you that keeps chasing love. That's the one who panics when someone pulls away, who settles just to not feel alone, who believes love must be earned. But Jung taught that healing begins when you reparent yourself, when you become the adult your inner child always needed. You do that by showing up for yourself, by saying, "I won't abandon you again," by giving yourself the safety and love you've always searched for in others. Because the truth is, no one can heal that child but you. No relationship, no partner, no soulmate. Only you. when you start listening to that child, when you hold them with love instead of judgment, everything changes. You stop begging for love and start radiating it. And suddenly, the people who once drained you stop feeling magnetic. You no longer crave intensity. You crave peace. You no longer seek rescuers. You become your own healer. That's what Jung meant when he said, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Because when you finally do, you realize the child within you wasn't broken. They were just waiting for you to come home. In a world that worships togetherness, solitude feels like failure. But Jung saw aloneness differently, not as loneliness, but as rebirth. He believed that when you can be alone with yourself and feel whole, you have reached the highest state of inner maturity. Because aloneness isn't emptiness, it's integration. It's when you stop trying to escape your own company and start falling in love with your own presence. When you sit quietly with yourself long enough, you begin to hear your own truth. You start to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. And from that peace, your energy shifts. The kind of love you attract from that state isn't desperate. It's divine. It doesn't come to fill a void. It comes to celebrate your wholeness. Jung said, solitude is the privilege of the strong, because it takes courage to sit with your silence. It takes strength to not rush into distraction. But that's where transformation happens. That's where you meet your real self, the one who doesn't chase, doesn't beg, and doesn't need saving. When you reach that point, the universe begins to move, and love, the right kind of love, starts moving toward you. Not because you search for it, but because your energy finally became a home it could belong to. There comes a moment in your healing when you realize love isn't about how much you can give. It's about how much peace you can protect. Boundaries aren't walls. They're the language of self-respect. For years, you might have confused love with tolerance, letting people take more than they give, letting energy drain you because you were afraid to lose them. But Carl Jung believed, what you accept into your life becomes part of your soul. If you let chaos in, chaos becomes your normal. If you let peace in, peace becomes your power. Setting boundaries isn't selfish. It's sacred. It's saying, I love you, but I also love myself. It's understanding that your energy is not free. It's earned through mutual care. When you love yourself enough to say no, you stop being available to what wounds you. And when you stop entertaining the wrong energy, the right energy finally finds room to appear. The universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you allow. Boundaries are the vibration that say, I am ready for love that respects my peace. Because real love doesn't fear your boundaries. It honors them. And anyone who truly sees your soul will never ask you to shrink to fit theirs. Carl Jung taught that everything in life operates by resonance. You don't attract what you wish for. You attract what you believe you deserve. When you feel unworthy inside, you'll find yourself begging for attention, settling for crumbs, and calling it love. But when you start healing that belief, when you finally whisper to yourself, I am enough, your vibration changes. You stop chasing people and start attracting energy that matches your peace. Because love isn't found in another person. It's reflected through your self-worth. Think of it this way. You are a frequency. When your energy is filled with insecurity, you tune into people who live in chaos. But when your energy vibrates at calm, self-respect, and joy, you tune into people who carry the same harmony. Self-worth is not arrogance. It's a quiet knowing that you don't need to prove your value to be loved. It's walking away from anything that doesn't see your light. Because the more you love yourself, the more you become a magnet, not for attention, but for alignment. And when that shift happens, love stops being a chase and becomes a meeting between two energies vibrating on the same divine frequency. When you finally start loving yourself, you begin to radiate something that words can't describe. It's not about looks, status, or charm. It's a quiet magnetism, a frequency of wholeness that others can feel. Jung believed that energy doesn't lie. People might not understand why they're drawn to you, but on a soul level, they feel your peace. They feel your self-acceptance. They feel your light. This is why the most magnetic people are not the loudest. They're the calmest. They're not chasing anyone because they're already connected to something deeper, themselves. That's the paradox. When you stop trying to be chosen, you become irresistible because your energy says, I am already enough. Your stillness becomes your strength. Your silence becomes your power. You no longer need to prove. You simply exist. And that existence, that grounded, radiant, peaceful energy, is what calls the right people in. People who don't want to possess you, but to grow beside you. So if you ever wonder how to attract love, stop focusing on how to find it. Start focusing on how to become it. Because when you embody love, you stop chasing and start magnetizing. Here's the paradox Jung often hinted at. The moment you no longer need love is the moment love finds you. It sounds strange, doesn't it? But think of it. When you're chasing, you're in lack. When you're waiting, you're in need. But when you're whole, you're in alignment. Love can't grow in fear. It can't breathe in dependency. It only thrives in freedom. True love is not two halves trying to complete each other. It's two complete souls meeting in expansion. Not, I need you to survive, but I choose you because you add beauty to my already full life. When you love yourself enough, your relationships shift. You no longer cling to people who confuse you. You no longer tolerate those who drain you. You start choosing peace over passion, clarity over chaos, and presence over promises. That's when you meet someone who doesn't complete you. They complement you. They don't fix your wounds. They respect your healing. And that kind of love doesn't feel like addiction or confusion. It feels like peace. It feels like home. The paradox is real. You only find true love when you no longer need it to define you. Then one day, without fanfare, without drama, something changes. You wake up and feel lighter. You don't need anyone's text to feel wanted. You don't check your phone for validation. You're just peaceful. That's the moment Jung would call individuation. When the unconscious and conscious finally unite, and you become your true self. It's not that you stop caring about love. You just stop needing it to feel alive. You stop chasing. Stop performing. Stop over-explaining your worth. You simply are. And in that being, the right people begin to appear. Not because you begged the universe, but because you became aligned with what you once prayed for. You'll notice the people who once drained you fall away effortlessly. The ones who couldn't meet your peace can no longer find you. And slowly, without force, the universe rearranges itself to match your new vibration. That's when love, real love, finds its way. It doesn't arrive in chaos or intensity. It comes as stillness. It feels like recognition, as if your soul finally says, there you are. Because when you love yourself enough, the search ends, not because you stop wanting love, but because you finally became it. Real love is not about effort. It's not something you perform, chase, or prove. It's an energy, an invisible current that flows between two people who already feel complete within themselves. When you love yourself, love stops being a struggle. It stops being this desperate attempt to convince someone you're worthy. It becomes something softer, like breathing, like sunlight. It becomes effortless. Carl Jung once said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And when you do, when you're no longer trying to be what someone else needs, you begin to radiate authenticity. And that's what love recognizes. You no longer look for someone to fix you because you've already healed yourself. You no longer want someone to save you because you've already rescued your inner child. Love becomes energy, not survival. It's like two rivers meeting, each full, flowing, and alive, merging into one powerful current. There's no force, no fear, no games, just alignment. And that's the secret. Love is not found by trying harder. It's found by being real. Because when you love yourself, your energy says, I am not here to be completed. I am here to connect. Infatuation is loud. It's adrenaline, obsession, and fantasy. It's the high that comes before the crash. Integration, however, is quiet. It's grounded. It's truth. It's love built not from need, but from awareness. Carl Jung said that what we call love is often a projection of our inner image, our anima or animus, the unconscious ideal of what we think we lack. That's why at first, love feels like magic. You're not falling for a person. You're falling for your own reflection through them. But as the illusion fades, reality asks, can you love beyond projection? Can you stay when the mirror no longer flatters you? That's what integration means. To love consciously, not compulsively. To see someone's shadow and not run away. And to allow them to see yours without shame. Because real love doesn't blind you. It wakes you up. It brings every unhealed part of you to the surface. Not to hurt you, but to make you whole. Infatuation fades when fantasy dissolves. Integration begins when truth feels safe. So, don't chase the spark that burns fast. Choose the light that stays. Steady, silent, and real. People fear being alone because they've never truly met themselves. They fill silence with noise, loneliness with distraction, and emptiness with other people. But Jung believed that the soul demands solitude, not as punishment, but as purification. Because when you are alone long enough, you begin to see what was never you and what always was. Aloneness strips away illusion. It shows you what you've been carrying that isn't yours. Your parents' expectations. Society's definitions of love. Old wounds pretending to be personality. And in that quiet, you start to hear your soul whisper, I'm still here. I've always been here. That moment, when you enjoy your own company, is when loneliness transforms into freedom. You stop running from yourself and start returning home. From that space, love becomes different. You no longer need someone to fill the silence. You want someone who can sit in it with you. You no longer fear being misunderstood because you finally understand yourself. And when that happens, you become magnetic. Because nothing is more beautiful than a soul at peace in its own presence. You'll know you've grown when silence feels safe. When solitude feels sacred, not empty. When you stop explaining your worth and simply live it. Growth doesn't announce itself with fireworks. It arrives quietly like sunrise. One day you realize you didn't react to that old trigger. You didn't chase. You didn't overthink. You simply let go, peacefully. That's evolution. Jung said, there is no coming to consciousness without pain. Healing hurts because you're shedding layers of who you are not. But on the other side of that pain is something extraordinary, peace. You stop chasing closure from others because you've given it to yourself. You stop trying to prove your love because your energy already shows it. You stop romanticizing chaos and start craving stillness. And suddenly, the world feels different. Not because it changed, but because you did. That's how growth works. It doesn't fix your life. It transforms your perception. It turns suffering into wisdom, wounds into gateways, and loneliness into self-intimacy. And the moment you realize that, you've already become the kind of person the right love is searching for. Jung believed the highest form of love is not dependency. It's union, two individuated souls, each whole, conscious, and self-aware, meeting not to escape life, but to explore together. This kind of connection is rare, because most people are still seeking healing through others. But when both souls have done their inner work, love becomes a sacred dance, not a completion, but of expansion. It's not, I need you, it's I see you. You don't merge to lose yourself. You merge to discover more of yourself through the reflection of another whole being. It's an alchemical process. Two energies blending, each transforming the other. Jung said, the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there's any reaction, both are transformed. And that's what conscious love is. Transformation, not transaction. In such love, both souls remain free, yet deeply connected. There's no power struggle, no fear, no pretense. Just truth, respect, and evolution. That's the divine union Jung hinted at, where love becomes not a feeling, but a path to enlightenment, not an escape from the self, but a deeper return to it. The right person doesn't arrive with fireworks. They arrive like calm after a storm. Their presence doesn't shake your world. It settles it. Their silence feels safe. Their words feel honest. and their love feels steady. You won't question if they like you. You'll feel it. You won't chase them. You'll walk beside them. Because the right person is not drawn to your wounds. They're drawn to your wholeness. They don't complete your heart. They harmonize with it. Their love doesn't demand you shrink. It invites you to expand. They recognize your depth because they've met their own. Carl Jung said, "The meeting of two souls is like the contact of two chemicals. If there's any reaction, both are transformed." That transformation doesn't come through drama or pain. It comes through presence, honesty, and alignment. When you love yourself enough, your energy changes. You no longer vibrate on the frequency of fear or need. You become magnetic, effortlessly pulling in what resonates with your peace. That's how the right person arrives. Not when you chase them, but when you become someone who no longer needs to. Real love is a mirror, not of perfection, but of truth. The right person won't just love your light. They'll reflect your shadow, too, not to hurt you, but to help you grow. They'll challenge you, not by arguing, but by being a space where you can see yourself clearly. You'll realize the purpose of love isn't comfort. It's evolution. Carl Jung believed relationships are psychological mirrors. Every attraction, every trigger, every heartbreak is the unconscious trying to show you something about yourself. With the right person, this process feels different. You don't fight it. You flow with it. Both of you are aware that love isn't about ownership. It's about reflection. You'll learn to say, "I see where I still need to heal. I see where my fear tries to control me. I see where my heart still hides." And in that seeing, both souls rise. The love deepens, the ego softens, and the relationship becomes a spiritual practice. A sacred mirror for awakening. That's the kind of love Jung hinted at, where both partners are not half-souls searching for completion, but whole beings discovering God within each other. At the end of every love story, there's one truth. You are always the one you were waiting for. Every heartbreak, every rejection, every lonely night was never punishment. It was preparation. It was your soul's way of guiding you back to yourself. When you finally love yourself enough, not in the self-help cliche way, but in the quiet, unconditional, honest way, something changes inside you. You stop begging for love. You start being love. You stop trying to prove your worth. You start living it. You begin to understand that the right person isn't the one who makes you feel whole. They're the one who meets you there. They become a reflection of how deeply you've accepted yourself. And the deeper your acceptance, the purer the love you attract. Jung said that the outer world mirrors the inner one. When your inner world is full of peace, the outer world finally aligns. So you don't chase anymore. You attract, naturally, silently, effortlessly, because the energy of self-love is irresistible truth. At this stage, love becomes something higher. It's not romantic fantasy anymore. It's sacred union. You realize that love isn't here to make you happy every moment. It's here to make you whole, to break open every place where you have resisted being fully alive. You start seeing your partner not as your other half, but as your spiritual ally, someone who walks beside you, not in front, not behind, but beside, through light and shadow alike. Carl Jung believed the sacred purpose of love is individuation, to bring the unconscious to light through relationship. That's what real partnership does. It calls forth your highest potential by loving even your lowest parts. This is divine polarity. Masculine and feminine energy dancing, balancing, awakening together. And when two souls reach this level, their love becomes medicine for the world. Because healed people don't just love differently. They exist differently. Their presence heals others. Their union inspires. Their energy teaches what words cannot. That's the purpose of conscious love. Not to escape life, but to embody it fully. And then one day, you wake up and realize you're not waiting anymore. You're not chasing. You're not craving validation or searching for the one, because you become it. The one who understands your soul. The one who chooses you every day. The one who stands by you through storms and silence. You become your own home. Carl Jung said, Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. But now you are conscious. You've met your shadow, loved your inner child, embraced your light. And because of that, fate no longer controls you. You co-create it. The right person finds you in that energy, not because you need them, but because your peace attracts peace. That's when the universe sends them, not to complete you, but to join you. Two souls walking side by side, not searching for love, but being love. And as Jung might say, the moment you truly love yourself, you stop looking for the right person, because love itself begins to look for you. Red heart,